Thanks for tuning in to No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today I want to introduce you to a wine called Orvieto. Now Orvieto is an Italian DOC level wine that's a dry white from the commune of Orvieto. Now Orvieto is right about in the exact center of Italy. It straddles the Umbrian-Lazio border. And this wine is always a blend of some native grapes from that area. And the most important are Grechetto and Trebbiano. Now in this particular blend, Grechetto can be up to 20% of the total blend, and Trebbiano up to 60% of the total blend. But there are also some other grapes that are allowed in this particular mix. Things like Verdelho, Canaiolo Bianco, and Malvasia. So any of those grapes can be in there, but we cannot exceed those numbers in order to keep our DOC status. Now this particular wine has been around since the Middle Ages. It's an ancient wine, but at that time it was a sweet or a semi-sweet wine, and it's definitely not that way today. This is a dry white wine. So today, if we look at a wine bottle and we see Orvieto Avocado, if we see the word Orvieto Avocado, then that is the sweet version. If we see Orvieto or Orvieto Classico, then that is the dry version. So that'll keep you from making a mistake when you're at your local wine store. So regular Orvieto will be very dry. And as I mentioned before, the Grechetto and Trebbiano blend is most important to this wine. So let's talk about Grechetto for a minute. Grechetto is the most important grape out of all the ones I mentioned in this mix because it adds weight and it adds structure and it adds texture to this particular wine. So when we see an Orvieto, if we could somehow look at the data sheet and see how high the Grechetto content is, that will definitely give us an idea of the weight of that particular wine. So I selected one that I think is a very typical wine for you today, and it comes from Santa Cristina, and it's one of their wines called Campo Grande, and this is an Orvieto Classico. So let's go ahead and dig into this wine to see what you might expect from a typical Orvieto. So the first thing that we notice when we look at the wine is that the wine is kind of a pale yellow color. It's bordering on straw, but certainly not golden. If we swirl to liberate some of the aromas, what wafts out of the glass is something significantly more textured. We're getting things like a little bit of apricot, some almonds coming through, a little bit of kind of almost like a buttered pecan, something definitely heavier, and that gives us an idea that this wine has a higher Grechetto content. Now let's go ahead and take a sip and see how it tastes. This Grechetto starts out on the front side of the palate with a lot of tropical fruits. I get everything from a little bit of peach, almost to mango, bordering on a little bit of tart pineapple, and then it kicks in with that weight mid-palate. We get a little bit of acidity, we get a little bit of the heaviness that comes from the glycerin in the Grechetto grapes. So we feel that satisfaction, that texture. So this is a wine that I would say you would want to pair with some heavier white meats, things like chicken. It might even be able to step up to very light pork dishes, or it will be perfect paired with some heavier cheeses. So I'm going to enjoy a little bit of my Orvieto Classico, and I ask that you tune in to No Wine in No Time next time, because soon you're going to know wine in no time.